If you hold XRP, now is probably the time that you really want to start paying attention, because it seems as though things are starting to crack. And when I say that, it's really kind of hinting at the fact that XRP could very well be tapped in. We're going to be talking about that. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Let's take a quick look at this post from June 11th of 2024. ChatGPT predicts 85% chance central banks will adopt XRP to rescue global financial system. Now listen, am I going to take this and run with it and say, oh, that means an 85% chance that XRP will 100% be tapped in? No. In fact, I don't care about what ChatGPT is saying. One thing that I will say is I do believe that XRP could very well be a major savior to our current financial landscape. Even down here, we have like a few percentage differences, like 20%, 80%, 90%. It's like, it's just ridiculous. I strongly encourage everyone to join the free Discord. There's going to be a link at the top of the description below. This is one of the most valuable and informative Discords out there, and it's completely free. There's a free side that has a ton of free crypto gems, free market strategies, guides, market trends, free charts, and there's also going to be new cheat sheets dropped in this Discord. And already we have a ton of testimonials from members of the Discord that have been absolutely loving it. So what are you waiting for? Go and click the link at the top of the description below and join the free Discord. But what's being asked here on ChatGPT is, if XRP could save the financial system from collapsing by providing instant liquidity around the globe, what is the probability percentage that the central banks would use XRP in this scenario? Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to kind of open up a window, right? And we're going to let that breeze come in. And what that breeze really is the fact that Ripple is working with the BIS, the central bank of central banks. Ripple is also working with, and they're in discussions with, well over 20 to 30 central banks. The last time that we looked at this, it was back in the summer of 2023. It was about roughly over 15% of central banks globally that they were in discussions with, which is crazy. It's insane. But when we take a look at XRP and what it could very well do for the global financial system, it could be the thing that actually saves our financial landscape. I'm going to talk about why. Let's first go back to October, right? Forbes put out an article, and it was US dollar collapse, shock 8 trillion predict a Fed inflation flip to spark a critical Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and crypto price boom to rival gold. And I said, very interesting timing on this article by Forbes. US dollar collapse, shock 8 trillion, and I just read it right to you guys. We are living in interesting times, that's for sure. XRP. Now, as we think about this, 2023 was the year, in my opinion, that gave us a glimpse into just how rough the current financial landscape really is. Major banks started to collapse. We started to see the constriction of liquidity around our financial system, hinting at the fact that, yes, we do need something to change. We need something to happen. Now, a lot of people predict that once we see the collapse, the new system will be ushered in. And yes, XRP will be a big piece of that. I have hinted at that being a probability. I don't think that we're trying to save the current financial system. I think that it's far too gone. I don't think that we're going to even try to save that at all. I think that they're just going to let that go. And what's going to rise from that ashes is the new financial system. And don't believe me? Go look at what the BIS is pushing. Go look at what the IMF is pushing. Go look at what these big players are pushing. And by the way, I just noticed that this has 58,900 views, 589. Very interesting times, right? We live in a simulation, truly. But outside of that, also just more recently, June, IMF issues serious US dollar collapse warning as the Fed primes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP for a crypto price boom. Interesting, right? Now, let's go over here, because this post is very significant, and it kind of builds upon this, right? Because we know what the Fed is doing. We know what the IMF is doing. We know what's going on around our system with inflation. The Fed is lying to us. The CPI data is false. Like, they're just manipulating us through the data. They don't care about, anything but manipulating us and keeping the show going on. And when I talk about the show, I mean this. It's this monopoly system that they basically built around fake money. And I do think that it's soon coming to an end. And that's where we start to see Project Mbridge and the Finternet become a reality. Now, the focus here is XRP, though. Because are we witnessing a liquidity crisis? Yes, we are. In fact, 40 banks in China just vanished in the last week of June. Where did they go? They got absorbed by bigger financial institutions. They say it has to do with poor risk management, hidden loans, and recent real estate market collapse. This could be a sign of a full-scale financial crisis for China. Might it lead to a financial and social unsuitability? Unpleasant outcomes to expect. People will lose their savings, banks' credibility ruined, businesses will fail, job losses, learn from Great Depression in 1930s and global financial crisis of 2008. Now, building on top of this, this is how substantial those 40 banks were. Breaking, Chinese banking sector implodes. 40 banks vanish in 1 week. China faces a silent banking crisis, threatening the global economy. 55 trillion yuan in assets at risk, 13% of the banking system, 3,800 rural institutions in trouble, up to 40% non-performing loans in some banks, massive exposure to real estate crisis. Beijing solution? Mergers. But combining troubled banks only creates larger troubled entities. Authorities struggle with delayed financial stability legislation, insufficient recapitalization, lack of bankruptcy mechanisms, potential for major financial crisis looming. Investors have been withdrawing from China for 2 years. Guys, it's not just China. May 1st of this year, why hundreds of US banks may be at risk of failure. We have been following this, and it's crazy, but this is all building on top of the commercial real estate. As you guys do see down here, right? Consulting firm Claros Group analyzed about 4,000 US banks and found that 282 banks face the dual threat of commercial real estate loans and potential losses tied to higher interest rates. Guys, this is what a liquidity crisis looks like. They're trying to print more money, they're printing more money, and although, yes, in the short term, this might be fine, but what's really going on is they're just putting a band-aid over this. It's not going to last forever, and we question what will happen after. Well, the liquidity crisis will only continue to brew and brew and brew, and it will get so big that it just overflows. And it just continues overflowing, and they need to solve the problem. They need to usher in something. Over here we have from Brad Garlinghouse. This goes back to March 16th. I believe that the original video is a little bit older than that. This got posted by AliGXRP. CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse's reply to a question asking what role can XRP and the XRP ledger play in alleviating a liquidity crisis. March 11th, 2024, Federal Reserve shuts down BTFP, Bank Term Funding Program, effectively stopping new loans from being issued, could instigate a domino effect liquidity crisis. March 17th, SEPA goes live, activating cross-border instant payments. March 20th, FedNow goes live, activating instant payments. Timings are interesting. Check this out.
I love the easy questions.
You might not love this one.
Uh-oh.
But I'd pay all my XRP to have you answer it. Maybe not really. With Ripple focused on providing on-demand liquidity and the world facing what's probably the biggest liquidity crisis ever, what role do you see XRP and XRP Ledger and similar technologies playing in alleviating such a crisis?
Well, so if you think about like what causes those kinds of crises, one of the dynamics, and by the way, there's lots of inputs into a crisis like that. One of them is friction. One of them is time. If you can reduce friction as measured by time and cost, that's good. That's just a good thing to minimizing, the risks of liquidity issues. Like I don't pretend that XRP is a panacea for all of these issues. What I do believe is if we can successfully integrate into the existing system, we're going to more rapidly bring the benefits of these technologies to a much, much, much broader audience than if we try to circumvent the system. So I've been incredibly pleased by the engagement we've had, ranging from the IMF to central banks. And look, Ripple's going to continue to work with those players. That's part of why we made the announcements we made this week about expanding, or really creating our presence more concretely here in Washington, D.C. And I'm optimistic that if these technologies continue to propagate across correspondent banking, but other industries, that's going to be good for any liquidity crisis.
Linda, Jane.
So yeah, I mean, this is why we really kind of look at this technology. We look at what this technology can do. It can alleviate a liquidity crisis. And Ripple has outlined this many times before. Also, remember, Ripple employee Marcus Treacher, big shout out to Smoke Dog for this, confirming that XRP is infinitely scalable with the help of IOP, and that the liquidity model of XRP was meant to scale to 7 to 9 billion people. If you didn't know, that's every single person on Earth, all of the money. Now, I'm not talking about all of the money here, but what I will say is the amount of liquidity that it could scale to. This could alleviate any issues around liquidity. We're talking about any crisis that is, starting with liquidity. XRP could very well be that suitable option to alleviate it. The problem is that this space is still unregulated. There's still a lot of concern around the space. But when we usher into that new system, the days of liquidity crises or financial collapses, those days are over, because the technology itself solves for any of these problems. And it's not just XRP. But listen closely.
We've configured our technology in a way that really fits the problem of cross-border payments liquidity very, very well. So for the cross-border payment challenge, we've created an open internet model. We call the idea interledger. So interledger, like the internet, supports our Ripple technology globally. And that model does not require a single universal common blockchain. It requires a very open blockchain interconnectivity. And that means that the volume is theoretically infinite. It's like the internet never runs out of capacity. Elements do, but the internet still works because it's inherently decentralized. So Ripple is the same. So we have a decentralized model, which is infinitely scalable. Supporting that, we have our liquidity proposition, which uses XRP, and that's a classic blockchain. But XRP was designed from the outset for transacting. So unlike the likes of Bitcoin, which is very slow and slows down as you continue to build on volume, the XRP model is very, very, very high speed and very high capacity. So the liquidity part is very adequately served by the XRP model. The wider network we're creating, where if you're really going to create something of value for 7 billion people in the world or 9 billion by 2050.
So there you guys have it, right? The liquidity is basically infinitely scalable, along with, just how massive of a piece of the puzzle the IOP really is. Now, over here, XLM and Ripple, both of them, it's all about liquidity. Liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. Even over here, we have, with XRP, eliminating the need for banks to have nostro accounts or foreign currency exposure. This arrangement is ideal to be used for exotic corridors. Again, those banks, those nostro accounts, once you get rid of those, it frees up so much liquidity, so much capital. We're talking about tens of trillions of dollars. That there by itself would solve so many issues around liquidity constraints. And then also, from Ripple, international transactions already face hurdles and delays because of country-specific regulations and currencies. Exchanging one currency for another introduces a price and time variance that could impact pricing on each side of the exchange. This erodes the stability of the transaction, therefore the liquidity, and increases risk and cost. As a result, financial institutions must pre-fund nostro accounts on each side of a transaction in that country's native currency. These account balances in a local currency improve liquidity by lowering the risk for the parties transacting. The cost and complexity of holding these accounts around the world is one reason why only a handful of banks can process global transactions. The burden of maintaining nostro accounts worldwide is simply unsustainable for most organizations. Small to mid-sized banks and payment providers instead pay a fee to use the international transaction systems of their larger brethren. Digital assets can be used to lower the cost and improve the speed of liquidity for these cross-border transactions. This is especially true in emerging markets where the cost of currency exchange is high and the trading volume is low. A digital asset designed for enterprise use can take the place of notional accounts and offer on-demand liquidity. This is possible because the digital asset serves as a universal currency instantly and cheaply, changing any payment into its needed local currency. To be successful, a digital asset must be designed to settle transactions quickly. For example, Bitcoin is a great store of value, but it is poorly suited for transactions because it can take over an hour to fully settle a transaction. It also has a limited capacity of 16 transactions per second. By contrast, a digital asset like XRP settles in mere seconds and can handle 1500 TPS, and we know that this is infinitely scalable through ILP, a throughput on par with Visa and other card networks. This is because XRP was created specifically for enterprises or enterprise use to provide liquidity for international transactions. And again, this is the crucial information around XRP that people need to know, because this is one of the most efficient digital assets in the space to utilize for transactions, to place at the center point for on-demand liquidity. And again, knowing what we know about, around not only the technology with liquidity or transactions or the eliminating of pre-funded accounts, it's also the unlocking of massive amounts of liquidity. This is crucial for these banks that are at risk. This is crucial for the entire financial system. That's why when we go back to that question of if XRP can rescue the global financial system, I don't think that XRP is going to rescue the global financial system. I think XRP is going to be the answer for the problems of the old financial system in the new financial system. This is why I think that this technology is so valuable and will become extremely valuable once implemented. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.